schedule downtime in your calendar like you would a really important client meeting. Protect it fiercely. Protect it. Rest isn't a reward, folks. It's a freaking necessity. It's an absolute necessity. Welcome to the Master Your Business podcast, where we bring you the best in branding, marketing, and customer experience strategies. I'm Deirdre Martin, your host. And if you've been asking yourself how to level up your growing business, your marketing, your customer experience, or how to make more of an impact with your brand, this show is for you. You'll discover actionable tips and insights to help businesses just like yours gain clarity and illuminate the path to success. Train with industry experts, learn sales and marketing strategies, business and mindset hacks, and be inspired by authentic entrepreneurship stories. As your host, I share the no-nonsense advice that accelerated my journey from boring bank manager to industry thought leader in marketing and customer experience. Learn how I made the leap into the world of six-figure success, digital courses, keynote speaking, and co-authoring a #1 bestseller in just 1 year. Together with interviews from industry experts, this show ensures you're seen, heard, and hired by your ideal clients. Join our growing community of subscribers and let the Master Your Business podcast empower you to tackle your most significant challenges on your path to business success. Don't miss out. It's your turn to learn from the best and master your dream business. You know those snow globes? You know the things, they're the ball and they have like a little village or something inside them. Have you ever had one of those? How I would describe how I feel is, you know, when you shake those snow globes and everything inside, it's like there's a blizzard or a whirlwind. It's this beautiful chaos swirling around. Well, that's the best way that I think I can describe how the Christmas holidays have felt for me in the last 2 years in my business. A frickin' storm, a storm of client demands, last minute projects, and zero time for myself. And I know, right, mea culpa, it's my own fault. But I feel like, you know, sometimes that when things quieten down, that's the opportunity that I have to step up and basically get shit done. But not last year, the year before, I actually found myself answering emails on Christmas Eve and missing out on some of the really crucial family moments that are so important, that are the reason why I'm doing this work in the first place. And it was last year when I was pretty close to doing the same, but caught myself in time, that I realised something's got to change. So this year, I'm planning in advance, and I'm going to take you through what my plans are, and hopefully they will help you too. So this year, December 2024, is where the change happens. Welcome to the Master Your Business podcast. I'm Deirdre Martin, a triple certified award-winning international best-selling author. I help entrepreneurs like you make your first 100,000 or your first million in business. And in today's episode, you will discover how to set your business up for success over the Christmas period without burning out or without pissing your customers off as well. I'm going to share with you 3 to 5 counterintuitive strategies to help you embrace let's call it the anti-hustle holiday season, right? By the end of this episode, you're going to have a clear plan to enjoy your Christmas holidays whilst also keeping your business thriving. Okay, so my first hack for this Christmas 2024, part of the anti-hustle holiday season, is to embrace rest as a business strategy. Yes, okay, I know that might sound a little bit nuts, but truth be told, I've really seen and experienced this and witnessed it, and I honestly believe in it. And what I mean by embrace rest as a business strategy is I went on my summer holidays this year and I actually did work. And what I mean by I worked was I read business books and I did businessy things even though I was off and I wasn't on my laptop. I was on my laptop 1 day, 2 days maybe tops. But I really just didn't feel like I had a rest. I was still on. My brain was still on. And I felt like I needed another week. So I'm so super looking forward to Christmas this year. And that's why I'm planning to rest strategically. That's why I'm recording this show. It's because I want you, if you're at all like me, where your business occupies so much of your brain time, it's important that you remember that your brain needs rest to be creative, to be in flow, and to show up in the expert way that you do for your ideal clients. And sometimes, that snow globe, sometimes letting the snow settle is what gives you clarity. So the first strategy today is to prioritize rest, not as an afterthought within your business, but as an actual critical business move. And what's funny as well is at this time of year, I had a client a couple of years ago who was really into circadian rhythm. And it's a little bit like being a bear or a hedgehog. At this time of year, particularly in Ireland, there are less daylight hours. So our bodies go into a little bit of hibernation. And I think it's important that we take more time at this time of the year to recharge. So coming into spring, we're ready to go again. We're ready for that chrysalis or chrysalis, however it's pronounced. And a few years ago at Christmas, I had some new projects that I was going to be starting in January. I had some clients wrapping up in December. And the projects that were coming in January, there weren't going to be a lot of money, but they were going to take a lot of time. And so I was trying to launch a new campaign, so a new marketing campaign where I was going to do a webinar or a challenge or something. I don't even remember at this stage. But the idea was to get some new leads in December for January so that I would hit the ground running in January. That was my thinking. But at the time, I didn't have a coach, I didn't have a VA, and I was doing it all myself. And I had nobody to bounce my ideas off of. Much as I love my husband, he doesn't know anything about my business, really, to that extent, if you know what I mean. And on top of that, I was being a mom, and I was being a wife, and I was planning the Christmas presents, and the Christmas dinner, and the Christmas shopping, and all of the things. And that's, it was a lot. And to say I was exhausted and a little bit overwhelmed is probably an understatement. I really was. And now, in hindsight, when I reflect back on that, I've learned from it. And what I've learned is that had I been more strategic and mindful, I'd have recognized that resting would have been a better approach because the outcome of what I did wasn't as good as it could have been. Had I rested, I might have been more creative. I might have had more success because the launch flopped. It didn't go so well. The couple of clients I had lined up, great. They came and there were training workshops. The workshops were done. There was no ongoing work from it. But if I had scheduled downtime and rested and been a bit more strategic, maybe the campaign would have gone better. Maybe I'd have done things a little bit differently. So I want to tell you to do this tip and apply the same hack with me. Schedule downtime in your calendar like you would a really important client meeting. Protect it fiercely. Protect it. Rest isn't a reward, folks. It's a freaking necessity. It's an absolute necessity. So I want you to take away some actionable advice from this. And I'm saying this out loud as much for accountability for myself as it is for you. And that is to set some clear boundaries with clients about your availability. Okay. And I have done this in the past when I worked in bank. It was standard practice that you'd email your clients and say, I'm going to be out of the office from here to then. If you need anything before that, let me know and I'm available. But basically, I'm out of office between this and then. So do that. Plan to do that now and do it in advance. The next thing is to create like a DND, a do not disturb, an out of office reply, so that if somebody sends you an email over the time that you're off, that it informs them and manages their expectations. Now, I have an out of office reply on my email all of the time. And like people actually reply and they're like, oh, that's the best out of office I've ever seen. So send me an email, info@deirdremartin.ie. Check out my regular out of office reply. And if you want to put like a funny twist or, something that shares a little bit about your personality into your out of office reply, take mine and tweak it so it reflects you. The idea being is that when you have something like that, people actually read it, then they respond to it. I have my phone number on there as well. So it says, if it's really urgent, you can call me. I'm totally open for people to phone me, folks. But phone me if it's an emergency. And if not, wait until I get back to work, get back to the office, and I'll reply then. You can do that too. The next thing is to delegate. Delegate tasks to your team or automate wherever possible, because you know what? Your team wants some time off too. So if you can automate something, bonus points. But if you can't, delegate and check in with your team to see what way they're working, if they're outsourced consultants or VAs like I use. But if they're employees, well then sit down together and plan how can you do all of the things and make sure everything that needs to be done gets done on time before you stop to take your break. Okay, I've got one final tip for you here. One of my amazing clients, Annie Croner, was on the show previously, and we talked about setting boundaries, managing your time, and achieving that elusive balance. But Annie doesn't call it that. Check out episode 84 in the Master Your Business podcast, where we talk about how entrepreneurs can achieve work-life integration with Annie Croner. So what you might find from listening to this are some bonus tips to help you plan and manage your boundaries throughout that Christmas period. Tip number 2, the joyful productivity approach. Instead of cramming in as much work as possible while you're off, thinking, oh my God, I have no client calls, I have no meetings, I'm Zoom free, I'm going to get so much done. Instead of thinking like that, because if you're like me, that's exactly how you're thinking. Instead of doing that, focus on some high impact tasks that bring joy to you, things that you freaking love to do and that move the needle in your business, right? I mean, I once spent an entire December creating a really detailed marketing plan for the new year. But guess what? It totally collected dust, right? By the time the new year came around, I had shifted to identifying just 3 impactful actions that excited me. And not only was it more fun, but it also led to my most profitable quarter ever. 3 wins, right? So use the 3 wins technique. If you do plan to do some work over Christmas, use the 3 wins technique. Now, I'm saying Christmas, these tips will apply if you're away on your summer break or an Easter break or any other break, in fact. All you need to do is each day identify 3 tasks that if you complete them, make the day successful. No more than 3, no less than 3. Prioritize tasks that align with your long-term business goals. Eliminate or delegate low-value activities because you don't need to freaking do everything. And as a bonus tip, integrate festive activities to make work enjoyable. Now, if you're away on a summer holiday and you're listening to this and we're talking about Christmas, integrate some sun seeds or another S, to make your break enjoyable, right? So what I would say to you is you don't need to wait until the new year to do something. You don't need to think about what you can do to create a sustainable business in 2025 because that really starts now. And if you are going to do the work now, do the work that actually is needle moving. And it's that whole Pareto's principle where 80% of the results that you get probably come from 20% of the work. So what I'm challenging you to do is to narrow it down to what is that 20% of work that's getting you 80% of your results. It's not easy, but it is absolutely doable. So while you're off, think about what are those needle moving activities and use that time off to reflect on that. And make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, that it is actually aligned with your business goal and not just the busy shit that sometimes as an entrepreneur you find yourself doing because it's like, oh, this just has to be done. I'm just going to do it, right? But if it didn't have to be done, if somebody else could do it, if you could eliminate, automate, delegate, delete it, what would it look like? So I am going to give you a freebie to help with this. It's like a restful entrepreneur's holiday guide. It's a worksheet to help you figure out how to create this downtime and really make sure that anything you do work on is a needle moving activity. So I'm going to share the link with that in the show notes. So be sure to scroll on down to the bottom of the show notes where you can click on the link and download your free copy. Okay, point number 3. Point number 3 is to do with the power of reflection and intention setting. Now, what I literally mean is reflect and intend. Don't just plan, right? You can plan, that's great, but if you don't stop and look backwards, how can you improve or not make the same freaking mistakes you made before? And, failure is a shortcut to success. So we need to look at what didn't maybe go so well and acknowledge that so we can learn from it and move forward. And the Christmas season, the time off when you're on your holiday, is a perfect opportunity to create some space for reflection. And again, it's not just planning for the future, but it's also acknowledging how far you've come, whether it was a failure, because a failure is a learning curve. You now can rule out something that you know will not work. That's progress. Every single thing that you've done in your business is progress. And very rarely, as entrepreneurs, do people actually stop and acknowledge all of that progress. And last Christmas, I remember sitting by my fire with a journal. Everybody else was out and it was just so peaceful. I had some Christmas music playing on the TV. My Spotify was going nuts with all the Christmas tunes. It was lovely. And I was just reflecting on the year gone by, and I realized I'd been so focused the whole way throughout the year on what's next, what's next, what's the next thing I can do? How can I improve this next for my clients? What's next, yada, yada. So I hadn't really stopped to celebrate the milestones. I hadn't stopped. That reflection recharged me more than any strategic planning session I have ever done with any mentor or anybody else. It was just stopping and reflecting it and letting those wins soak in, and all of the learnings soak in too. So what I would encourage you to do, make a plan to do this over your break, is conduct a year in review. And in there, list your achievements, big and small. Recognize any challenges that you've overcome, the oh shit moments that are no longer oh shit when you look back at the film. And this isn't fluff stuff, it's actually fuel. Schedule that reflection session with some guided questions. And those questions are in the workbook that I've created, just a worksheet to be fair, it's not a book. And there's only just a few prompts to make you think. But set intentions then based on your reflections, and those intentions, they're not just goals, they're intentions, right? And then share your insights with your team or a trusted peer, your coach, your mentor, somebody who, understands what you do and gets you. Share it with them for accountability. So something we've done this week actually with our community and business accelerator is to do some vision planning and power word planning for 2025. If that's something that you're into, it's actually incredibly powerful way to help you plan and visualize what success is going to look like for you in the year ahead. And a lot of people really struggle with this, which is why I've been doing it for the last 2 years in Business Accelerator. It's a great way to create something that helps you, that visually represents your goals and your aspirations. It makes it easier for you to work towards it when you can actually picture it. If that's something you're into, I would encourage you to stop and take the time to do something like that as well. It's creative, it's fun, and it's really enjoyable. And if you have some power words for 2025, send me a message on LinkedIn or reply to me via email. Let me know what your power words are. I'd love to know. Mine for last year were growth, abundance, and simplicity. And you know what? I'm keeping those same 3 words for 2025 because that's the journey that I'm on right now. So some other things that often come up in my communities are client gifts, Deirdre. What do you do in terms of client gifts? And so, it's lovely. I've got a fabulous hamper from one of my clients. I've got flowers from other clients. And what I started to do a few years ago, because my business is online and a lot of your businesses are online, I don't actually get to meet my clients in person quite a lot. So what I'm inclined to do actually is send a donation to a charity, and then I send the donation that I've sent to the charity to the client via a digital card. So that's something potentially you could look to do as well. I really like that sort of giving back sense and doing it in 2 ways. And I really hope that my clients, when I do that, appreciate that as well. But other things that you could do are to send some personalized gifts, some handwritten notes, or something along those lines. Those things work really well as well. And the final thing to talk about today, the final point I want to discuss with you is, should I be posting over the Christmas period, and should I be selling if I'm posting? Oh, great question. And my answer to this is yes. So frickin' lutely, because you know why? Hardly anyone is posting and probably no one is selling. So it's a great opportunity for you to be the tallest poppy on social media at that point in time. And what I mean by that is you might as well show up. If it's a way that you're going to show up and add value, do something that's going to entertain your ideal clients, or do something that is beneficial to your ideal clients, it is 100% worth your while to show up and do that. And if you've got an offer, if you've created something in particular that's special for Christmas, by all means, share it. If you're on my email list, it's my birthday next week. Happy birthday to me. It's your birthday next week and it's Christmas week. I'm going to have a very special offer that I share with my email list over the Christmas period. And I may or I may not share it via LinkedIn as well. I may tease it on LinkedIn that the people on my email list are getting a very special offer. And the only way you can get it is if you're on my email list. Because, and this was what my coach said to me. She said, Deirdre, sometimes people are at home and they miss their businesses. Deirdre, sometimes people are at home and they need a break from their families. Sometimes people don't have family and their work is their family and their baby, and that's where they want to be and that's where they want to spend their time. So people are still checking their emails, they're still checking their phones. So you can absolutely create something that you could share and sell, something that's digital, that's easy to purchase, that people can make a speedy decision over the holiday period, is a fantastic thing to do. And earlier this year, when I was on my summer holidays in Greece, that's exactly what I did. I created a digital offer that people on my email list, only a select few people on my email list, could purchase. I'm going to share the exact steps I did in that, or I took in that, to make a ton of sales and have Stripe notifications coming in on repeat as I was lounging by the pool. Because seriously, that was like the dream. Okay, so today we have talked about rest as a strategy, focusing on joyful productivity and reflecting to set powerful intentions. We've talked about some of the gifts that you might consider giving your clients and whether or not you should post or sell over the Christmas period. So, some of the actionable advice that I gave you today is to choose one of these strategies and implement it this week. Don't wait until burnout forces you to take a break. Don't regret next year not having taken a break. And remember to download your Restful Entrepreneur's Holiday Guide to make the most of this Christmas season. You can download it at www.deirdremartin.ie/holiday guide. Okay, if you found today's value at all beneficial, or if you found value in any of the episodes that you've listened to so far and you haven't yet given us a rating or a review, we'd love if you could do that, please. Every time you do that, what happens is the show gets shared with more people who could benefit from it, just like you have today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, keep mastering your business.